Pay attention to the line.
What is he getting at right now?
He's drawing a geographical line between North and South, using Richmond, Virginia as that dividing line.
I'm sorry, I lived in Virginia 2 years. When I think of Men North of Richmond, I just think of going to DC. If he says Mason Dixon line anywhere in this video, I'm gonna eat my own on stream. There's no shot.
Rich men north of Richmond are not the sole reason that you're struggling economically.
It's actually big business owners and capitalists.
It's the exploitative and solely profit-driven market system we currently live under, which is hurting everyone all over the country, regardless of what side of the Mason-Dixon line you...
Ah! Bro, this is unhinged.
Richmond was the Confederate capital. This is Confederate apologia. This is barely even a dog whistle. Richmond.
Where it's like...
Entering eye contact mode.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with a lot just because
I don't even know the song. Richmond North of Richmond. Okay, what is this song that everybody is obsessed with?
Working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away. Drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end. 'Cause the rich men, 'cause the rich men. I wish politicians would look out for minors, and not just minors on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay.
Wow, epic.
the internet's just such a rowdy place, you know?
Okay, August wanted me to watch this. I don't know what I'm supposed to react to. Did I run out of things to say, like on stream? Or what am I supposed to say to this?
The world's a rowdy place.
It is a rowdy place. True. Fantano's take.
Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well. Let's talk about the right wing's new favorite country song.
Oh no.
If young Metro don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you. Beautiful morning.
Oh no. Here we go. Okay, before we get into this, can you analyze the song? It's a fine song, I guess. It sounds like a song that's just complaining about how sucks. I don't know. It's like an okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with the song. It's a fine song, I guess. Yeah. I don't know why people are so. Well, I know why conservatives are ultra soy over it, and then I guess liberals have to get soy to counter soy it, I guess. But it's a fine song. There's nothing wrong with it.
That matter. Guy recently released a track named "Rich Men North of Richmond," and this song has been going mega viral. Not just among the sort of psychotic, bigoted, weirdo conservative influencers that, you know, typically will platform dudes like Tom McDonald whenever they see him in a music video jumping on a tank to be like, yeah, America is awesome, yeah. Even though he's like a Canadian grifter, but I digress. No,
predict what Fantano's gonna say? I don't want to say predict it, but I feel like Fantano is gonna go really, really, really hard on this song because he is a partisan hack. That's what I feel like. But But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he'll just be like, oh, it's a fine song and people are making too big a deal out of it. I think that's like a reasonable take, but we'll see what he's about to say. Wow, Thompson, thank you for the 75-year host.
This track has been going super viral just about everywhere. This isn't just some kind of weird Trump rap that has no impact or influence on anything, and idiots who don't understand how the music industry works are freaking out because, oh my God, it's #1 on iTunes. Nobody buys music on iTunes anymore. It's like bragging about being the most popular product sold in a store that nobody goes to. But no, this Oliver Anthony song has been getting exposure well beyond that, doing slightly bigger numbers than some mainstream artists get on new singles and music videos, and also spreading pretty far and wide on streaming platforms too. I was going to do a reaction to the track, but honestly, the performance is pretty straightforward, pretty dry. It's just some acoustic guitar, some vocals. The singing isn't the greatest I've ever heard, but it is good. And the playing isn't really what I'm trying to critique or pull apart here anyway. I figured this video might go down better or might make more sense if I just kind of go over the lyrics of the song and try to dissect what it's getting at exactly, because that sort of seems to be the heart of why it's resonating with so many people. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit here and waste my life, drag back home, and drown my troubles away. Which is not a bad sentiment to express on any song, really. Just kind of sounds like struggles personally with depression, working class woes, not being paid enough. Moving into the pre-chorus, it's a damn shame what the world...
I don't know where you got depression from, but I agree with the other two things. Okay, yeah.
It's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. The way he's kind of inviting the audience into the song to relate with what he's going through, it almost has, like a Woody Guthrie type quality to it. It's very, I'm breaking the fourth wall and communicating directly with you. That's one of the powerful and significant hallmarks of folk music generally.
When I read this, I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours of bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and draw my troubles away. Maybe it's a Midwestern thing. This sounds to me like you work all day and then you go home and you just get wasted because you've got nothing else going on. I guess when I think of depression, I think of like a different experience. This just sounds like blue collar hopelessness. That's what it sounds like to me. But I mean, maybe you can call that depression if you want, but that just sounds like, yeah, maybe you can call it alcoholism. But this just sounds like blue class or blue collar, like working class, like hopelessness. But sure, okay. It's called depression, not being happy. Okay, true. That's fair, I guess. Do you not think us wages are mostly depressed? I don't think most wages have depression. No. Depressed, sure. But okay. But yeah, if you use words interchangeably, then whatever. But that's also true too. He didn't say like clinical depression. He could just say, oh, it sounds like depression. Which, I guess. Maybe I'm the one that's reading too far when he said depression and I'm thinking clinical depression. Yeah, that's fine, maybe.
One of the powerful and significant hallmarks of folk music generally. As far as the writing and the messaging goes so far, Oliver Anthony is making really good use of these tropes, these themes, these mechanisms by which, old world singer-songwriters would try to give perspective to average everyday listeners and also validate their experiences too. Moving into the chorus here, living in the new world with an old soul, these rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, because your dollar ain't shit and it's taxed to no end, because these rich men north of Richmond. Okay, now this is interesting right here. This is interesting framing and lyricism, because he's putting some very old and ignorant tropes down in a way that is super subtle, artfully subtle, to the point where I think most people wouldn't pick up on it or would be able to write off accusations of whatever the mindset, perspective, or political leanings of this track are. Again, at this point, given the words he's chosen to write this song with, I think a lot of people would just say, well, yeah, he's just singing about working class struggle for country music fans. He's just getting down on their level. That's all he's doing. But pay attention to the line that the title is named after. He's drawing lines there, not just class lines, as he's framing himself and everybody else listening to and relating to the song as poor and your average person, working class. Mind you, this guy lives on 90 acres from...
Wait, what is he getting at right now?
I understand, but that's neither here nor there. This guy like lives on 90 acres from what I understand, but that's neither here nor there. Or maybe it is, whatever. But more specifically, he's drawing a geographical line here as well between North and South, using Richmond, Virginia as that dividing line.
Wait, am I retarded? I'm sorry. I lived in Virginia 2 years. When I think of Men North of Richmond, I just think of going to DC. Isn't that what I thought that was like what everybody up in Northern Virginia did anyway. Don't they all work in DC? Isn't that what North of Richmond is? Wait, what? Wait, what? Where did I live in? I lived in Woodbridge for, I think, like a year or two. I don't understand what does he think it's like... Hold on. I'm not going to make any assumptions. Let's see where we're going with this. If he says Mason Dixon line anywhere in this video, I'm going to eat my own on stream. There's no shot, okay? There's no shot.
90 acres from what I understand, but that's neither here nor there. Or maybe it is, whatever. But more specifically, he's drawing a geographical line here as well between North and South, using Richmond, Virginia as that dividing line. With that, you can't ignore the elephant in the room. You know, he's like bringing up old, bitter North-South ideological disconnections that go back to the Civil War era. Drawing this North-South line and claiming that, you know, it's those people from the North that want to control us and tell us what to do. There's a lot of really bad and toxic and often bigoted political baggage that comes with, you know, that North v South binary. And also on top of it, it literally has nothing to do with the economic struggles that he's singing about in the first portion of the song. Rich men north of Richmond are not the sole reason that you're struggling economically.
It's actually big business owners and capitalists and people like Jeff Bezos and Amazon.
It's the exploitative and solely profit-driven market system we currently live under, which is hurting everyone all over the country, regardless of what side of the Mason Dixon line you...
Ah! Bro, this is unhinged. Did I miss, are there other lyrics in the song to point to him having, am I missing something?
Land on. Okay, let's move on to the second verse here because I hear that's where things start to get a little spicy. I wish politicians would look out for minors and not just minors on an island somewhere. While in the abstract, this is not a bad thing to bring up, often when the rubber hits the road, the people who are the loudest on this topic seem to turn a blind eye when some of their favorite figures kind of get caught with their hands.
So like, I'm gonna lean, believe it or not, I lean a tad more charitable to strangers if I don't know anything about their political background, if I don't have any other reasons. But like, when I think of like Richmond north of Richmond, that's just like, it works well. Rich men north of Richmond. That works well, and DC's directly north of Richmond, and everybody in country music hates government, taxes, and all that shit. That's like a super standard country music trope. When I like looking out for minors instead of minors, the way that I interpret that lyric, and I guess I could see it going two ways. You could either say like, oh, like the politicians don't want to go f kids instead of helping minors, or it could just be that people were more obsessed and concerned with like Epstein Island instead of like actually helping blue collar workers. But again, like I feel like I would need more context to assume like, is this guy talking about hardcore conspiracy? Because I feel like if he really wanted to talk about like politicians f***ing minors, wouldn't there be more of that in the song? Wouldn't we see more symbolism? Because past this line, I don't know if we see anything else relating to conspiracy shit for the rest of the song. But I mean, like, let's check, I guess. I don't know.
Hand in the cookie jar. So that's an interesting line that's kind of at war with itself in a way. Also the next one, because Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Him whining about obese people milking welfare, one of the oldest right-wing cries.
This is like country music 101. I feel like I wish I could remember like Keith Urban and all these old guys, because the shit we used to play this back in the back when we were cooking, you'd always have a radio in the kitchen. I feel like this is just what all country music talks about, is loving God, loving your country, loving your Ford F-150, loving your Chevy Silverado, loving your wife, God, your country, your daughter, and hating the government and taxes. Like, I feel like that's all, yeah, Kenny Chesney. I feel like that's like all country music. Grab your guitar and play, let's go. Like, that's all like super standard stuff. It's like classic country music, Southern stuff.
Is of Wolf that there ever was, which is just a feigned concern over money being wasted. Oh, that's just wasteful. You're just throwing money down the toilet, feeding these people who are fat. Feeding these lazy, good for nothing. When, like, if you want to talk about excess spending and waste in this country.
Let's talk about the large corporations and the military. Okay, what is he gonna bring up? Military industrial complex or large corporation tax cuts. Those are one of my two guesses. Or wage theft. No, probably not that one. Military industrial complex. It'll be military industrial complex or the other thing I said. Large corporations wasting money somehow.
Monetarily speaking, fat people on welfare is like toward the bottom rung. A much larger portion of our overall budget as a country.
Come on, military industrial complex, come on.
Goes toward defense spending.
God, I'm so good. I wrote the script for him. I'm gonna be honest. I did write the script for him for this video. That's why I know everything's gonna say, okay.
Goes toward wars, goes toward places like the Pentagon, throwing cash left and right with no accountability whatsoever. Yeah. And also our health care system, which, mind you, we pay more for that per capita.
I was gonna say health insurance, but I didn't know how to worm. I didn't really think he'd bring that up. But okay. That we waste money on healthcare is kind of a weird thing. So okay.
Than any country that actually has a socialized healthcare system. That is all waste. That is all your tax dollars going down the drain. That is literally the government burning your money in your face. Going
where? Where's the government burning your money on healthcare? I'm curious what, but okay.
Deeper here. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bag of fudge rounds. Honestly, there's more than enough money in the U.S. budget to buy everyone enough fudge rounds to the point where we'll just all die and go into a diabetic coma, which comparatively would be money better spent than on another unnecessary invasion, a bunch of military bases that do essentially nothing, or I don't know, just putting that money into the pockets of price gouging big pharma CEO assholes.
Thanks.
So to put it clearly, if your worry right now for your average person in this country is how far their dollar goes, how much money they're making, and you're thinking about like, where does that come from? Where does that problem originate? What is the solution? And your head first goes to fat people on welfare, bro, your priorities are f***ed. Because the issues and the problems you're talking about would still persist even if there wasn't a single...
Does he do like domestic policy analysis for every song? I want to see him do this for a rapper. The CIA sold crack to the... Like, well, actually, if we actually go and we check back historically, was the CIA directly... seriously, would he do this level of breakdown of like policy analysis for like a rapper making a song complaining about the system or some shit? Like, I'm so curious.
Single person who was fat and on welfare. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground because all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Which, again, I don't think this is a bad sentiment to convey, but I think Oliver Anthony has the wrong target in his sights when it comes to like what is creating that inequity and what is creating that lack of opportunity. It's not fat people eating sweet treats that may have been paid for with EBT. Finishing things up with the chorus, and yeah, he's singing about how these rich men north of Richmond, they want all that total control. The irony is not lost on me that the origins of these bad north-south relations draw back to the want for control and ownership of literal human beings. But yeah.
Why are you so uncharitable, Fantano? Am I missing lore? Sure, he's a partisan fuck, but it's not like he's lost the plot. Ever since I watched him do that review of that J. Cole song that brings up No Name, I have zero intellectual respect for Fantano. He is. The problem is that Fantano is embarrassed that a long time ago he platformed and was friends with Sam Hyde, and he will spend the rest of his life trying to live that down in the circle of progressive cuckoldry that he's found himself in. That is where Fantano will find himself for the remainder of his career, and it is the saddest, most stupid thing I've ever seen in my entire life. he hates No Name now. Oh, does he? Did he flip on her or something? I wonder why. But
reading through this, I'm not really.
Can you summarize the J. Cole thing? No Name. No Name is some incredibly imagine like the whitest black woman rapper you can ever imagine, and that's No Name. Okay, basically No Name likes to rap, but she only wants black people to come to her shows because she hates white people, but she wants to sell music to white people because she wants to make money. And she writes about systemic inequities and all this cringe shit or whatever, and calls out other rappers for not doing enough to like right the wrongs of slavery and reparations, all this bullshit. And I think No Name got into a little spat with J. Cole on Twitter where she's like, oh, like you celebs don't do shit, you know, rappers, blah, blah, some shit like that. And I think J. Cole wrote a very touching response song, basically an entire song dedicated to her sentiment, where he basically says like, yeah, you know, I try my best, I'm not perfect, you know, but I could do more, I could definitely do better, and I'm listening and blah, blah, blah. But like, I feel like you're coming from a really privileged background. And Fantano lost his mind tearing into that song. It was one of the least charitable interpretations of a response song I've ever heard in my entire life. I thought, now, I'm not like a J. Cole stan. I do like him, and I don't like No Name. But I thought J. Cole's response was very mature, very touching. I thought it was very well done. But his teardown of that was absolutely f***ing unbelievable. And I was like, really?
You know, you're the sagely guy who, you know.
That, I think that's the whole... Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. This is... either I'm totally missing something or what. But I thought that was the whole point of J. Cole's line here. Is it like, man, everybody thinks I'm really smart, but honestly, like, I'm pretty average. There's like random people on Instagram out there that are way smarter than me. I thought that was the whole point of this. Like, I feel like Fantano is hardcore missing the point of this opening line. Can we watch it? Oh, maybe if you want to. I don't know.
Surprised.
Yeah, Snow on the Bluff is the song I'm talking about.
See this track popping off with the groups of people that it is, because again, it's really kind of drawing back to the same old story, the same old bullshit of North versus South, but it's just putting it in a slightly subtler package. And some of you may be watching this video reacting, thinking, you know, Anthony, why are you covering this? It's just like a right-wing country song. There's a million of them. But I think it's worth exploring and talking about the fact that the right-wingification of country music has long been a political project that dates back to the Nixon administration. It's...
Wait, I'm sorry. He knows more music than me, so I would always just assume that he's right and I'm wrong if you're trying to decide who to believe. But my understanding is that country music is almost always going to be right wing. It's country music. This is music from the South. This is music from people that live in trailer parks and in rural areas that are predominantly white, predominantly conservative, predominantly south of the Mason Dixon, predominantly like... The right-wingification. I'm sorry, was there a period in time where country music wasn't associated with like conservative folk? Am I wrong on that? I am so lost on that comment.
Music has long...
A lot of old school country guys were super pro-union. Yeah, but like you could still be pro-union. Listen, my friend, okay? Pro-union in a US context does not mean not conservative, okay? Part of the reason why the federal government's reached so far into different individual states to try to get people to act right after the Civil Rights Act was because unions were one of your best and most effective ways to keep black people fucked from ever participating in higher economic activity. A lot of union guys were hella racist and did everything they could in their power to keep the black employees that were part of the unions from ever advancing in careers. The idea that like just because unions are unions, that they're good, like that's bullshit. So yeah, but I'm not saying unions are bad or good. I'm just saying unions exist to protect workers. If the workers are racist, the unions will be racist. Like, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like country music has always been like pretty conservative, but
been a political project that dates back to the Nixon administration. It's not just a post 9/11 thing, as some Zoomers and younger millennials seem to think. And because the genre has been completely and utterly co-opted and corrupted,
I need to go look up like old songs or some shit. I don't know, man. A lot of country guys are not right-wing, just the people that listen to it. I feel like country music has always been like conservative, rural type music. Like people, it's just, I thought that's where basically it was.
Stuff like what Oliver Anthony is singing here is very well received, as we are seeing from the views and the virality of this track. And sadly, for a moment, while there was a part of me that was really excited to...
Some early country singers were left-leaning, like Dolly Parton, Johnny Cash, and Woody Guthrie. Oh, maybe way older than anything I've heard contemporarily. So maybe.
See some of these more underground and alternative country artists coming up and gaining a bigger voice in the internet age. What I think we're kind of witnessing now is that the internet is also platforming some of the also fringe, but not quite as fringe as, Adeem the artist, some of the fringe right-wing factions and elements of the genre. And that's how you're getting tracks like this and Zmij Aldin's, small town track popping off. Because as terrible and as stereotypical and as garbage as stuff like Florida Georgia Line is, for example, they know at the very least to stay away from rhetoric like this. They're not coming on to talk about north-south relations or anything like that.
I don't think this song had anything to do with north-south relations. I think that's insane.
The thing I'll say is, look, at the end of the day, I don't think Oliver Anthony and a lot of the people identifying with this track are inherently bad people. And it's not like the struggles that they're singing about or giving a voice to are completely invalid or not real. Much of the time they are real, and the fact that we're not addressing them as a country is part of what causes so much social rot in the US. The issue is these problems are being highlighted and then the blame gets laid onto different alternative and completely unrelated targets. You're having a hard time getting a job, the price of milk is going up, your dollar doesn't pay for shit right now. And you know what? That's because of immigrants. That's because of people who are lazy and on welfare. It's because all those elites up in the north, they don't like you. When in reality, if you wanted to wake up tomorrow with better pay, better opportunities, better everything, the answer is to protest and get down the street. The answer is to unionize and organize against your boss, for example, until you're getting better pay. People who are in the same economic class as you, but look differently or dress differently or a different orientation, whatever, those people are not the reason that life sucks for you. So again, the track does lend a legit voice to some real struggles, but any kind of solution-based focus from there is just misdirected into other just non-sequitur crap, which is pretty much a hallmark of right-wing anything. Get mad and get afraid over stuff that doesn't really impact your life in any way. Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well. Let's talk about everyone's new favorite singer and songwriter in the country scene. That would be Mr. Oliver Anthony, a guy who we talked about on this channel not too long ago, much to the dismay of many a commenter saying that I was misunderstanding Oliver Anthony singing about Richmond north of Richmond and he wasn't drawing a north-south line. He was just singing about politicians from DC because that's north of Richmond, guys. But number one, Richmond, home of the Confederacy. So there's that, number one. And number two.
Yeah, but Richmond also sounds like rich men. Okay, did you ever think of that? Did you ever think of the words were pretty similar? Did you ever think that Richmond and Richmond kind of go together really well?
There are politicians all over the country contributing to the societal and economic ills that Oliver Anthony supposedly cares about. It's not just the ones north of Richmond. But regardless, I talked about this in...
But the ones north of Richmond, they're all there because it's Washington, D.C. That's where our capital is.
Number one, Richmond, home of the Confederacy. So there's that, number one. And number two, there are politicians all over the country contributing to the societal and economic ills that Oliver Anthony is.
I don't like politicians from D.C. Oh, well, you'll love mine because my politicians are from California. What are you, bro? What are you talking about? What?
Supposedly cares about. It's not just the ones north of Richmond, but
Does he think the guy's only complaining about politicians from the states that are north of Richmond? Fantano's point is it's not just federal politics. No, shut the f up. That's not what his point is.
Regardless, I talked about this in part in a clip that didn't make it into the original video. I don't think he just generally means politicians. There's politicians all over the United States of America, and most likely there's a lot of Southern politicians he probably agrees with. I don't think this guy would have an issue with government generally if it were, espousing and supporting whatever ideas he believed in. So yeah, Oliver's song.
Yeah, no shit, he wouldn't have a problem with the government was espousing ideas he agrees in. That's the whole point of complaining about the government.
It's recorded, it's released, put up on YouTube, it's blasted through a bunch of right-wing media channels and talking heads, promoted by this
Jason
Howerton guy. Turns out this guy is like a well-funded and connected, politically right-wing social media operative. We showed this in the video, but I need to be explicit about this and say that even dudes like Dan Bongino, that mailbox head man, came in and confirmed that, yeah, this guy basically came in, helped blow Oliver's song up. This basically makes Oliver an overnight sensation to the point where he gets a #1 song on the charts. That's right, numero uno, baby. He's getting media interviews and opportunities, although, he's not exactly towing the line that people are expecting him to tow, given the crowds of people that his song is hitting with. There's this interview where I guess he's coming on and talking about how, America's diversity is its strength. There are some right-wing weirdo guys who do not want to hear that is for sure. Oliver's song and music video were also played and referenced at the recent GOP presidential primary debate because, again, like I said, the song is doing really well, culturally speaking, in right-wing circles. It's dog whistles and it's attacks on the welfare state. It's saying the sorts of things that these people want to hear. But Oliver isn't really happy with the type of attention the song has been getting up until this point. He's actually gone on social media a couple of times, most boldly when it got played at the GOP debate, just to say, I don't want anything to do with this. I'm not right. I'm not left. I wrote this song about those people. It's not just about Joe Biden. He's kind of painting himself at this point as being a very above the fray, not politically affiliated kind of guy, which he may very well be, even if there are some right-wing-esque talking points espoused in his song. Now, at first when I saw him doing this, part of me was like, oh, I wonder if he's kind of disgusted with the stuff that he's seeing or the types of people embracing his song and is trying to actively distance him.
Hey, the idea of people wasting welfare and wasting money and then other people that deserve it not getting it, I don't think that's a right-wing talking point anymore. I think you're going to find that pretty ubiquitously spread across most places. Like, I'm not wrong. Hold on, I'm sorry. I need to stop assuming I have less lived experience, life experience, and connections than these people. I'm pretty sure that if you talk to most people spread across San Francisco, LA, Seattle, Portland, they're going to say, yeah, we spend a lot of money on like homeless people and shit. Nothing gets done. All of our costs are increasing. Our taxes are insane. Even left-leaning people are going to be making these complaints in these areas. You have to stop pretending that these are just complaints by fringe right-wingers, right? These are complaints that the entire Republican Party has, and these are complaints that a lot of liberals and Democrats are having that live in a lot of these cities as well. It's not just this fringe shit. You have to treat it like a real problem, because if you live in any of these places, there are a ton of homeless people. They are taxed at exorbitantly high rates. The taxes in LA are insane. The taxes in New York City are insane. I don't know what taxes in Washington or Oregon are like, but I bet they're high too. Okay, but like, yeah, and like these places are getting overrun and with like homeless people and crime and shit, and like, yeah, you have to address that. You can't just keep pretending that it's a non-issue and that only fringe conservatives are complaining about it.
Himself from all of this. Honestly, I think Oliver is actually, like most Americans, and politically speaking, is pretty much an ignoramus and doesn't really know what ideas, thoughts, or narratives are coming from what direction. He's just intuitively soaking up whatever it is he's reading or seeing like a sponge, and just by whatever intuition he has, just deciding what makes.
That's basically everybody, Anthony. Yes, that's how most people arrive at their politics. They look at shit, they absorb shit, and they say it's not necessarily the most like sophisticated method of arriving at epistemic political truth. That's what most people do, though.
Sense and what doesn't. Which there may be some people watching this video thinking, that's how it should be. That's how I am. What's wrong with that? Well, sir, that's how you end up in a place where you're writing a song where you think you're like defending and fighting for the working class, but you just end up attacking other poor people who are on food assistance. He's taken to Instagram to sort of try to explain away his attack on the obese milking welfare in his song. Look, dude, it's a crappy line. Just own up to the fact that the line is crap and has no place and makes no sense in a song that is allegedly a pro-working class song. And make no mistake, it was an attack on the welfare state, and this is something that some of the conservative talking heads that help blast this song out and make it popular celebrated about the song most.
This is true, but bro, in the red pill space, you know who attacked welfare queens more than any other person? It was black people. I've had so many black people tell me, you don't understand how many poor welfare queens are driving Cadillacs and shit. It's like, bro, first of all, I don't think that's true. I'm sure there are some that do, but the idea that like the average person on welfare, but like I'm pretty sure you guys have seen me argue on shows about this. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen me argue with black people on shows. They're like, no, the average welfare recipient is driving a Cadillac with 7 kids, no baby daddy, and they live like in a really nice like 4-bedroom apartment. Like the average, like people say this to me, like on shows. And Zena said it. Other black men have said it. Like, yeah, so it's not just white conservatives that are thinking this shit. Like people like Destiny, how are you making me defend this Soy King? The song obviously hints towards the North versus South. Why use the Richmond, the capital of the South? Because Richmond works really well with rich men.
Again, the sentiments of the song rang loud and clear. It hit with the people it was going to hit with, given what Oliver Anthony expressed. And while I am willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that he was basically too dumb to agree to understand what it was he was communicating, that's not to say that Oliver Anthony should be like, just like given a pass for things that he says. He still communicated. It caught the ears of the people who sort of like understood the politics and understood the perspective. What I am saying is that I hope that Oliver Anthony has mind enough to look at the situation he's just been through, learn from it, and get some perspective on the power of his words and who he could potentially be hurting, depending on who he decides to shout some negative words at or attack in a forthcoming.
What are we talking about? Who is he hurting here? Like, this is such a cringe. Like, bro, what is happening right now? How long ago did this song blow up? This video was posted 4 weeks ago, and this comment 4 weeks ago was, just to be clear, rich men north of Richmond refers to Washington, D.C. politicians. This is in no way a knock against people from up north.
Hey everyone, Anthony Fan.
This video was 2 weeks ago. So this guy clarified this line a full 2 weeks before Anthony's Tano's first video.
They said we a sponge, and just by whatever intuition he has, just deciding what makes sense and what doesn't. Which there may be some people watching this video thinking, that's how it should be. That's how I am. What's wrong with that? Well, sir, that's how you end up in a place where you're writing a song where you think you're like defending and fighting for the working class, but you just end up attacking other poor people who are on food assistance. He's taken to Instagram to sort of try to explain away his attack on the obese milking welfare in his song. Look, dude, it's a crappy line. Just own up to the fact that the line.
One of the things I love about DoorDash is every single time I order a drink, I'm always like rolling the dice on whether I actually get it or not. I feel like I've nourished so many DoorDash drivers with my free drinks for them. I'm happy. I'm so glad for them.
And everybody who was going insane about like, oh, the song's not right wing. It was more about who the song was being consumed and pushed and celebrated by. Again, with the song being played literally at a GOP debate, the track became even more of a far-right siren call than it was when I originally talked about it.
You know what else they used to play at GOP debates? Is fucking, is it Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA? I mean, like, is that a right-wing anthem too?
first video. Then number 2, Oliver Anthony with all of his recent statements about how, the song's written about the politicians on that stage. It's not right or left affiliated. I'm kind of taking this as a W. This whole situation would be way worse socially and politically speaking if Oliver Anthony instantly after the song blew up and knowing where his bread was being buttered, decided to roll over and become a little piggy far-right media darling like Kyle Rittenhouse has. And even if he's the most politically educated guy on the planet, I can at least commend at this point that he's kind of reacted to this in such a way where he's like, well, screw this. I'm like going in my direction. Because for the Matt Walshes and the Ben Shapiros of the world, for them to not still have this dude to continue to push and exploit and basically squeeze social relevancy out of, it's pretty much a loss for them. And it does maybe create an opportunity for him to possibly de-radicalize some of the right-wingers who are following his work, who think like, well, if Oliver Anthony, this guy whose music really inspired me, doesn't consider himself to be right-wing, then I don't either. That's kind of a hopeful outlook on the whole thing. Either way, that's my update on Oliver Anthony. I hope that he is continuing to grow and learn and maybe writing a new interesting song that we'll hear at some point. Fingers crossed that it's good and actually mindful of people who he considers to be of the same class as him.
De-radical, bro, he's just like a little country music duder. Holy shit, chill.
You guys hear about this crazy Redbeard guy? This guy. You've seen this guy? You've seen this.
Apparently his thumbnail for this was right-wing plant.
So who in chat knows what astroturfing is? Anyone know that term? This is pretty common. As we all know, the right has a lot more money than the left does on average.
Is that true?
And because the right are, to a fault, talentless, insincere, inhuman monsters, they have a really difficult time producing cultural value that pulls people over. This is why basically all art is made at the very least by liberals and often by progressives. Because they have souls and conservatives don't. But, that doesn't mean... I'm generalizing a bit. Obviously there are some conservatives with artistic talent, but it is a very, very strong bias towards the left. So that means that if conservatives want to assert any kind of cultural influence, they usually have to do it through astroturfing. That's basically when you substitute authentic grassroots support for any piece of art or anything really with money from the top, and you pretend that it's just this big wave. So this guy out of nowhere just popped into existence and has been promoted by basically every far-right account on Twitter and conservatives broadly. This is because there were prior deals established. There was money traded behind the scenes. This was not just a random singer. This is an industry plant. It's not exactly new, and conservatives aren't the only...
Really? Is he gonna present any evidence of that, or?
Only ones who do it. But I wanted to take a look at this song because it's led to some discourse. Okay, so what do we know about this guy apart from the fact that he's got a big red beard?
I've been selling my soul, working all day.
Well, immediately, what do we know? What can we find out? Well, he's got a set of pipes. Sounds good. Not gonna lie. Not gonna take that away. His voice sounds pretty great. Not gonna pretend that he doesn't have talent in the singing side of things. Obviously, I can't play the actual song because it's definitely copyrighted. The song is called Rich Men North of Richmond. Very catchy. And if you Google that, you can see like the effect of astroturfing is really evident because there's like 1 day ago, 2 days ago, like...
I mean, the song is literally #1 on Billboard. It's genuinely impossible for some unknown singer to do that without having done literally anything else. Is it genuinely impossible? Haven't there sometimes been freak blow-ups of huge songs from relatively unknown people? I could be wrong. Maybe I just don't know the background. How popular was that Big Shaq guy? Like, has this guy had anything even remotely approaching how popular this song was? He was a comedian? Yeah, sure, but like... What does the Fox say? I think those guys were already a band that had done meme songs before, but that also blew up really weird, or really huge as well. But I think like if other people... Lil Nas X, yeah. I feel like if other people are, I mean, shit can get blown up. I'm just saying they don't have to be industry plants. It could be AstroTurf, like conservatives are artificially blowing him up because they like his shit and they want him to be big. But to say that he's necessarily like a plant, Despacito, maybe. Gangnam Style, Destiny's a term for those one-hit wonders. I'd be careful with Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style seems like a one-hit wonder thing, but the reality is I'm pretty sure Psy is like he was an incredibly popular South Korean singer. We just don't know of him outside of South Korea. But this is not like a random guy that had a huge song. Psy was very, very popular before and after the song came out in South Korea. I don't know Despacito. I don't know if that guy had stuff before or after, but do you guys remember when the StarCraft community thought they were the ones that discovered Psy and they were the ones that made that song big?
The whole wave of interest, just like a uniform wall pushed forward. This guy's Twitter account was made like a couple months ago, probably when these deals were initially struck. So,
I hate this way of thinking. It's actually so toxic and cancerous. I don't know, the fact that he just like so confidently will assert that.
I want to take a look at the lyrics, because I've been seeing a lot of people spewing complete horseshit about it.
The closest thing that I would say, here's what I consider an industry plant. Maybe, would I say this? You'll get people like this who will like seem like they're just like random girls like recording in their room or some shit. But I'm pretty sure, isn't her dad like one of like the managers or heads of like a recording company or some shit? This is kind of what I would say is kind of like almost like an industry plan. It's not just like a random girl that's like blah, 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 you know? She's the daughter of marketing executive George Cottrell or whatever. And Allie Cottrell, I don't know what it's like, photographer and designer. Man, you know what? I don't even know if I would consider her an industry plant, actually. I assumed that I thought when I heard her dad was a marketing exec, I thought he was a marketing exec working at a major record label. Maybe I wouldn't even consider her a plant, actually. I don't think I would.
About them. Look at that, we found the lyrics, crazy. Sorry that I have to be the one to say them. Can't be his pearly voice, you know, again, copyright. That's how it is. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home, drown my troubles away. All right, classic stuff, not exactly new or innovative as country music or in fact music goes. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could wake up and it not be true, but it is, oh it is. Living in the new world with an old soul. All right, cringe, right, you know. But anyway, these rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, because your dollar ain't shit and it's taxed to no end because of the rich men north of Richmond. Richmond was the Confederate capital.
I can't believe so many people, damn, you can't make a song with anything having to do with that city. That's just like tainted forever, I guess. This is Confederate apology, or Confederate, I don't know, eulogizing? It's the Confederacy. This is those damn Yanks north of the Mason Dixon want to control us, which is funny because the Civil War was fought over the men south of Richmond literally wanting to control people, own people. Yeah, it's exactly, it's a yearning for the good old days, but I find it particularly insincere that it literally, like one line after the other, it's those damn Northerners, those damn Unionists want to control people. Like it's a joke, you know? This is one of the reasons why you have to be a little more, I guess, like skeptical of anti-rich talking points. Because here's the truth, folks. Basically, everyone hates the rich. Like, the only people who aren't rich, who don't hate the rich, are like weirdo neoliberal fiscal policy wonks and libertarians who think they'll be rich one day. It's basically human nature to hate the people above you because they're living it up and you're not. I'm pretty sure this guy owns a large farm. Oh, of course. Well, if he wasn't rich before, he is now because of all the money that he made being AstroTurf, for sure. Everyone hates the rich. You have to know why people hate the rich. You have to understand what it is they're saying. Because apparently now Rich Vaush, he's referring to DC. DC is north of Richmond. Yeah. I feel if I had extra time, I feel like I would hate watch Vaush. I think I would actually do it because it's just funny. I like these. These are funny streams.
But Richmond was the Confederate capital. DC was where the Union government was stationed.
It's also currently the capital of the United States, but you know.
And Richmond was where the Confederate capital was stationed. It's a Southern country song where he's talking about how he's like pining for the olden days and how the men north of the Confederate capital, the Confederacy being known as the South, so north is the... Come on, guys, this is not subtle. This is barely even a dog whistle, Richmond.
Where it's like, first of all, we've so hard to analyze this. Is like, okay, north, south, Mason Dixon, slavery, Confederacy. It's like so obvious to him. It's like, is this even a dog whistle? He's basically saying like, I hate, like he's basically just saying that, right? Like that's what I heard, right? Let's rewind. Like,
Richmond is still the capital of Virginia. Yes.
I think my favorite Vaush clip of all time was when Vaush debates black people. He gets possessed by his Gusano slave-owning ancestors.
Actually politically represent my interests.
I'm not. My point here ain't about criticizing your vote. It's that only 2 people were going to be president, and there are only 2 real paths to FBI.
No. But those are 2 different.
You got that plantation riz. Hell yeah. Boy's born in where is he? Beverly Hills. How many generations back was he possessed?
For me to actually politically represent my interests.
I'm not. My point here ain't about criticizing your vote.
Dear. Oh, me. Hold on, I just read real quick, and then we gotta hop into this panel.
Think of the ice cream. Ice cream, so good. Think of the ice cream. Think of the heart me. I heart you too. Think of the glizzies. 100 glizzies entering glizzy overdrive. Increasing grip by 7%. We are locked in. Thank you for over 160 glizzies entering glizzy overdrive. Think of the ice cream. Ice cream, so good.
Okay.